Good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning into PSVG this week, and the only gaming podcast that asks you, Kiki, do you love me? Are you riding? So you'll never ever leave from beside me, because I want you, and I need you, and I'm down for you always. We are the flagship show of the Place of Video Games Podcast Network and a proud member of the Make Us Better community. Speaking of which, we have to take a quick time out to personally thank each and every one of you out there who help support us and make us better in the process. So far, we've been able to do some cool things that if you are a Patreon producer, you'll be getting a little something in the mail from Donnie and myself that we've used some of your donations towards, as well as get Seth here a new microphone who's on the show tonight. So you'll hear the fruits of that labor there. As well as some other things coming down the pipeline. There's much more to come thanks to all of you. So thank you to our Platinum Executive Producers, Mr. Corey Hicks at twitch.tv/chicks_18, Mr. Mark Moody. Happy birthday, sir. Cheers to you. You can find his movie reviews over at youtube.com/outoflives. We also have our gold executive producers, Mike BC and Panache Malloy, and our executive producers, Stephen Iafredi, Joey Splats, Caro Underwood, Dante Bellini Jr., Jared Gautier, Dude427, myself, the other guy in the show, Josh Bravoni, Tammy Ryan, Robert Miller, Tim Ulf, Joel Brooks, Martini Jean, David Ray, and Jesse Armstrong. Thank you all so much for believing in our product, and we genuinely want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. So, as I've mentioned, this week joining me, it of course is I, your host, Kevin Austin, and direct from the PSXP podcast, Seth. Buddy, how we doing?
Testing. Is this thing on? Testing. What? It appears.
It's on.
It works. Thank you. I'm good. I am good. You say I'm fresh from the PSXP podcast. It feels like forever ago that I did one, but it wasn't actually that long ago that we had the guy from Better Than Speed on there. That was a good show, but it feels like I've done a million things since then. So
you have. You've been out and about. You've been busy. So
I have been.
We'll get to that in a moment. So also with us, straight out of Board with VG Land, Josh Barboni.
Hi, I fell down a flight of stairs today.
Did you really?
Oh.
Yeah,
I mean, you normally just say, I'm so tired. And I mean, it's something different, I guess. So
I'm tired and in pain.
You know what? Then I think I'm going to pass the mic to you first. Why don't you catch us up with what exactly you've been doing, including falling down the stairs? Because I'm sure there's a story behind that and a little bit of what you've been playing, sir.
Oh, well, we're cleaning a flight of stairs and someone put stripper down on the stairs instead of cleaning stuff. And I went to take a step and I took 8 steps. So that was fun.
Strippers on the stairs at a elementary school? That's not kosher.
It's a high school, don't worry.
Okay, then in that case, that's perfectly acceptable. Fair enough. So what have you been playing besides Trip to the Emergency Room then this week?
Oh boy, what a good question. So on the board game front, the last game I played was Villainous. You can hear about that on Board with VG. That dropped this morning, if you're watching live. Video game wise, it's been not a lot, mostly Paladins as far as gaming time, but not necessarily a lot as far as time taken to play. It's nice that it's Kyle and I talked about it. It's funny because I have it on the Xbox. It arguably looks better on the Xbox. But I still been playing it on the Switch more for whatever reason. In my opinion, in my experience, the controls are garbage in handheld mode. I can't get aiming down. It's a nightmare. So I've been kind of like getting into bed a little early, propping myself up, putting on the TV and playing with the controller that comes with the system, the Joy-Con controller thing. So I've been doing that, winding down at the end of the night and trying to level up some characters and gain some experience to buy new characters because I'm not quite sold on the battle pass for that game. It's not as easy as like buying the Fortnite battle pass.
No, not at all.
It's more of an investment. And I played Vigor on the Xbox. I always say it wrong. It's either early access or game preview, and if I all correct.
Game preview. It's on game preview.
Yeah, game preview. So I played that. It is another battle royale game. It definitely has its own unique mechanic to it. I would say maybe not a mechanic, but like before you enter your battle royale, like typically you're in like the bus yard for Fortnite or PUBG.
Yeah.
In this, you actually are just kind of in a secluded like cabin area, and it's not like a loading screen. It's just somewhere you can be, and you have a house, a cabin, where you can gear up. You can go through your weapons and equip what you want, and then it has a map wall, like a corkboard. And if you open that up, it shows you all the different locations you can choose to do your battle royale mode in. It's not true battle royale; like there's not 100 players on the map.
Right.
And we did look it up. It's by the same people who did Arma.
Okay, sure.
So it definitely suits that if you're familiar with that game. It's basically PUBG H1Z1 hybrid style game. But when you jump into the map, it's interesting because they still have like the big red zone, kind of like PUBG has, where like airstrikes will happen.
Yeah, yeah.
But it also has these like cave markings, but they're put there by people, and they're exit points. So at any point, you can just leave the map. So if you go to the exit point, it evacuates you out of the area, and the game is over.
So it's like you forfeit almost, as opposed to
yeah. But
I
think what you can do is supply runs, like for weapons and
okay,
like armor and gear. I think I haven't tested it out because there's only 2 hours in the trial. So I haven't, but from my experience, I thought I was supposed to go to those. It wasn't super clear on like how you're supposed to navigate these maps. But I went to one and it was like, oh, you're out. Okay, done. I didn't see anybody.
Game over. You're like,
attack anybody. So yeah, I mean, I'll give it another shot. I think I have probably about an hour left, so I'll play it one more time. It's only $20 game right now, so it's a little bit less than an investment than PUBG was. So
yeah. For sure.
It's worth at least checking out if you have it. And then I very briefly jumped into No Man's Sky again because I need to have some time put aside based off of everything I've been reading about what it is like now. And like when I first got No Man's Sky, my wife and I sat down and we played for hours. And I want to be able to give that the same amount of time.
Right. I'm sure Seth has a lot to say about that when he gets around. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. And I jumped right in and I died right away. So
yeah, I remember you said that story.
I got on a frost planet, which is fine. I just didn't. They don't make it as easy, so it was a little jarring. Like when you first start the first No Man's Sky, we'll call it, you're relatively close to your ship, if not right where your ship is, based on memory. And this one, not only was the ship like not on my radar right away, but it was like 2 valleys away, and that's why I didn't know where I was going and or how to get there. So that's why I died first. And then there's a neat little thing that shows your grave when you come back. So that's just always mocking you. I keep thinking it's my ship that I'm going back to, and no, I'm heading back to my grave.
Did you press X to pay respects?
No, I never made it to the grave. But yeah, that's pretty much my game and gaming experience through life. What's going on right now? So minimum game time.
Cool. I've been kind of all over the place. So for once, I'm not recording 2 or 3 podcasts tonight, which is a welcomed break for me here. But I did make a few appearances. If you're listening and haven't heard the most recent episode of the Delvin Cox Experience, Donnie and myself both appeared on the same episode, and let's just say it's an interesting experience for all. Delvin says he's gotten some great feedback, so I'm happy for that. But I don't think Donnie and I thought it was our best foot forward, but people seem to dig it, so good for them. And I also had the pleasure of attempting to fill the shoes of the mighty Jason Lacey on Fluxipose, which dropped yesterday as well, so check that out. But as far as on the gaming front, so I'm still pecking away at God of War when I can. Still enjoy it. It's a very great looking game. The mechanics feel good. The combat just feels right. Just as odd as it may be to say, you can almost feel the weight of the axe and how it moves and how it combat. Like it's very satisfying when you get to do the right moves and stuff like that. So enjoying that. And then playing a couple games on the Switch front. Library in my area now carries Switch games, which is nice. So like I put a bunch on a list here to wait for them to come in, and two of them came in at the same time. Kirby Star Allies, which I've been wanting to try for a while. It's another Kirby game. Looks really well on the Switch. I will say that it's a lot prettier looking than I thought it would be. Being a Kirby game, they're basic. They're not known for their outstanding graphics, but it's very clean looking. Runs perfect. And for anybody that has family members, they may want to play there too. I've only played it solo so far, but it seems like it'd be really easy and really good co-op type game, especially if you have younger kids that might need some help getting through. The more experienced player can be Kirby, which, as long as Kirby stays alive, it's all good. And anybody he adds on to his team, the second, third, and fourth players, if you want to, can take over his partners that he can kind of replenish all the time. So it might be a good game, for instance, for like you, Seth, with the kids and play through that, because you can carry them through the whole levels, but they're still engaging and playing along there with you. So it's pretty fun. And I also got Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, which I beat on the Wii U anyway, but I still wanted to check out the Switch version and see if it's good. And it's good. It's actually really good. Playing it portably is probably the way it should have been played in the first place, but the capabilities of the Wii U having to play, you can play portably, but you had to be at home. It just feels so much better on Switch. So I haven't done too much there, but I still want to check it out, and it's good.
Cool.
And two more things to talk about. One, I can't talk about too much, but I will just say, Donnie and I are reviewing a certain game.
I know what it is.
You do?
Yeah.
What is it?
Overcooked 2.
No.
Oh.
Womp, womp, womp. I wish it was, but it is another great game from Zoink Games, Flipping Death, which is coming out to everything next week. So it's under embargo right now. Can't talk about it. I can just let you know that there will be coverage coming from PSVG as soon as the embargo drops on Monday. We'll have some content out there for you, as well as some streams of, the first hour or so we've already got cooked up in the books there. So, I can't say anything else other than that, but look forward to that coverage there too. And the last thing is I came home today to a large cardboard box sitting in my living room. So my wife and kids head down to the beach on Thursdays normally, so I end up being home alone, which makes for great podcasting. And there's a box sitting in the living room. So I'm looking at the box, and it's a good size box, and has my address on it. And then it's from J Money. And J Money is what Justin Warner goes by on the Nintendo Switch there. So I tear open in the box, and inside the box is another box. But it's actually the Labo robot creation kit he sent over to me, because if you listen to the Justin Warner episode we launched last week talking about Comic-Con, he mentioned he was moving and needed to downsize, hitting the road, and pack it up and drive across country in an RV. So he didn't want to take it with him, so he sent it my way. And as I was checking it out, he actually wrote on the inside and autographed it saying, "Please take care of my robot," signed Justin Warner. So it's kind of cool. So if you're listening now, I'm going to tweet out some pictures tomorrow of that. It's hilarious. And, Josh is making jokes that I am Justin Warner. I did not mail it to myself from Brooklyn. That would be silly. So no. But anyway, so I will hopefully be able to stream some of that and what that game looks like. I know a lot of people aren't familiar exactly with what the robot Labo kit does, because we know it's a game versus the other kit with the piano and the other stuff where you kind of create things. This was an actual game. So I do hope to stream that to give it some coverage, because you don't see a whole lot of it out there. So hopefully sometime this week, as you're listening it, not watching live, I'll be able to have some of that material up on the YouTubes or Twitch. But Seth, what have you been up to, man? Like you said, you've been doing a lot, and you've been playing a lot too, it seems.
Well, I've been playing a little bit. Been traveling this past month. Traveled to Las Vegas for a conference, and then traveled to Anaheim, California for another conference. And when I was in Las Vegas, got to see the sights there. Got to go hiking a little bit. Josh fell down a flight of stairs today. When I was in Vegas, I went to Red Rock National Park. It might be National Conservation Area or something. And you can go hiking there in the canyon, Red Rock Canyon. And I took a trail in the desert, walked about a mile in the desert, got lost, ended up on the side of a mountain. I was still on a path, but I was not on the path I wanted to be on. So I tried to take a shortcut back to where I was. I got stuck by a couple cacti in my leg. And then the shortcut that I saw went down a steep part of the mountain, steep hill, that was very rocky. So I just I fell down the mountain is what I said.
Oh, God.
So
Oh, boy.
it wasn't quite that drastic. I mostly slid down the mountain.
So you got hit by some cactus. You fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
Did you have to drink your own urine at any point?
I did not. I had plenty of water, thankfully.
Well, I mean, that's good. And did Grouchy Surge have to come rescue you?
No, he did not.
He left you there at the bottom of the mountain?
Yeah, exactly. No. Yeah, and that's what I met up with Grouchy out there, and we played some pinball together. That was a lot of fun. And then came back home for a few days and then flew back out to Disneyland or to Anaheim for a conference, and we went to Disneyland. And then just got back home week or so ago. On the way back home, our flight got delayed out of LA, and so we had to spend the night in a terrible hotel that was under construction.
Oh, yeah, you posted some pictures on that, or you sent them to us at least. I saw.
Yeah. There was when we checked into our room, the dirty linens were still in the corner. There was hair in the food at the restaurant. Our curtains were moth hole ridden, and we were in a room with one king bed for a family of 5. We got some of that stuff figured out. And then the cherry on top of that was the next day when we went back to the airport with our boarding passes in hand for our flight to Columbus. They told us that we had missed our flight the day before at first, and then we weren't on the flight that we were supposed to be on that day. So we got on the flight and we got home, but
not fun.
It was an interesting end to a great trip. And then
travel isn't stressful enough.
Yeah,
with
that many kids. Yeah,
8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and an under 2-year-old. Yeah. So anyway, we got home, and then this week I had ordered some new flooring. We put in new flooring in our living room. Ordered it about 4 weeks ago. It was supposed to be back last Monday, the July 23rd. It didn't come in, and they had to reorder it, and it wasn't supposed to come back or to come until next week. So so I've been having a lot of issues with things being on time.
Yeah.
So we picked out some different flooring, and we spent Monday and Tuesday this week putting in some hardwood floor, some engineered hardwood floor in our living room. And also this week I had jury duty. And it was my year for work starts on August 1st, so I returned to work on August 1st. So it's been been doing a lot of stuff this week.
That's crazy. I will say the floors look beautiful. Like well done there, especially when you do it yourself. I mean, seems like all of our circle of friends between Lucas redid all of his floors and now you to do your floors. Like,
well, cool. I think Lucas is a little bit more handy than I am, but my father-in-law helped and he told me what to do and I did it. So now it looks nice. So, in between that, I've game-wise, I guess I'll talk about board games first. Yesterday was my daughter's 9th birthday, and for her birthday, she got Payday.
I remember Payday.
She got Payday from one of my aunts, and I remembered. I mean, I played it when I was a kid. So tonight, just a little bit ago, we were playing that for the first time. It's a longer game than I remember. It takes a while to get through. And of course, the 5-year-old won. She had like $4,000, and I ended up with $50. That's what happens. And then I also bought, but have not played yet, the Star Wars Destiny.
Yeah, good
Card dice game that was on sale on Amazon for like $10.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So haven't played that yet. Read through the directions. It looks kind of complicated.
It seems more complicated than it is.
Yeah,
I can
I'm
give you pointers
hoping
if you need any.
I generally think once with any game, if I just play it, then you figure it out. So I'm
Mhm.
hoping. I think my oldest daughter will enjoy playing that. So she wants to be Ray, so I guess I'll be Team Dark
Kylo.
Side. Yeah, Team Kylo. So anyway, so those are board game front, and then video game front. While traveling, I played Octopath Traveler for a little bit. I'm kind of stuck right now on a boss fight. Are either of you playing Octopath?
I have
you
it,
tried it?
but I have not tried it yet.
Okay.
And I just have the demo. I have just barely scratched the surface.
So I mean, it's a good game, but I'm at for anybody who is playing it, I started with the Hunter and worked my way around counterclockwise, and I'm now down to Olberic, which is my fifth character, and I cannot beat the boss. I've tried it 5 times. I've went out and grinded a little bit, and so I'm just kind of stuck. So it kind of stinks. So I played that. Had jumped back into Stardew Valley a little bit, which is a lot of fun, and also played some FIFA on Switch.
Nice.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Which is, it's the best mobile version of a soccer game. So,
wait, whoa! You claim it's better than Soccer Slammers?
I have not played Soccer Slammers.
I'm joking.
It is better than Legendary 11 or whatever. But it is better than Speed. It's better than whatever terrible soccer game that I reviewed a few weeks ago.
Oh, there was. I think you're right. I think it was the Legendary 11.
Yeah. Which that game bummed me out. So I played that, and then on PS4, it's basically just been No Man's Sky since they did the update about a week ago. I started a new file in that, and it does take you do need some time to put into it to really get. I'd say the tutorial, which is find your ship, repair your ship, eventually get your warp drive, and learn how to build a base, is probably a good 2.5 to 3 hours. And kind of once you can do all those things, then you can really get back into the regular game. I did try co-op a couple nights ago with my friend who I usually play Destiny with. I finally talked him into getting No Man's Sky since it was on sale, and because we could play together. And so he was just starting it out on Tuesday, and I had my save, which was like 4 hours in, and it was super easy. When you're on the main start screen, you go to an online game and you can either join a random online game or find a friend. I clicked on his, I could import my save right into that game. So it's my character was in there. I'm not where I was before. I'm in the new galaxy that he was in, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And so I was able to go in and help him out, and it's seamless. I can go off and do my own thing while he's working on his own stuff, or I was able to help him repair a ship a little faster because I had some of the resources already.
Oh, sure.
And then I think kind of once he gets going, we'll be able to jump in and do missions together and whatnot. I did have one kind of fun thing. I posted about it in the Discord a couple days ago, where I warped into a new star system and there was a battle going on. There were pirates attacking a freighter, and they asked for my help, so I went over and shot them. And somebody else, a random person, warped in at the same time, and we fought off the pirates together, which is the first time I'd had that sort of experience there. And then at the end of that, the freighter captain called me in and gifted me the freighter. So now I have a freighter, and I have one trade ship that I can send off, and it'll do missions, kind of on its own time, and it comes back with resources for me. So that's a way, so they've built in a way to really add up a lot of resources pretty well. So I like the improvements that have been made. I'm maybe 5 hours in. Got a long way to go. But I am reminded why I liked it so much to start with, and it is a little bit stuttery as you enter the planets. There's some frame pop in. I crashed one time when I landed on a planet. The game crashed, not my ship. And there are some frame stutters here and there. So if that stuff bugs you, then stay away from it. But it's fun. I like it. If you like the original No Man's Sky, you should definitely jump back in and try it again. So
yeah, that was actually also at the library too, and I was going to pick it up, but I knew I wouldn't have much time because unfortunately, like if I get a game transferred from another library to my library, they're often like a 21-day rental, which is awesome. That's plenty of time to get through something. Okay. But if something's in my specific branch that's right next to my office, it's only 7 days. And I was like, I know I won't have time to play it, so I'm not going to touch it now, but I know it's there. And I do want to try it, but I want to make sure I can give it time.
Now, with a game like No Man's Sky that's a couple years old now, you might be able to renew it.
Ooh.
Because I know...
might be a possibility, yeah.
Like if I rented or if I borrowed God of War right now, it's got a long list of people who want it, so you get it. So I get it for that 7 days, and that's it. But if it's an older title, a lot of times you can renew it for 2 or 3 times.
That's true. Yeah, I'll probably try and hit it up next week. Once I get through these 2 that I have now, I'll see if I can pick that up. So I do want to give it a shot because even people that didn't like, people that liked it originally, like this even more. And then now people who didn't like it originally even seem to like this now. So I'm like, well, now is the time where I feel better about jumping in, where I was a little leery compared to when it first launched.
Well, I think the whole narrative of that game would have changed had they launched 2 years ago, like PUBG, $30 early access title, and then No Man's Sky next is the full game. And I think they're still making improvements, and they're going to do going to do special events, and things like that. But I think this is the No Man's Sky that was promised 6 years ago.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it will continue to be supported just based on the community now. It's growing around it and rallying around it. Where people who only have an Xbox can now play the game, and it's good complete format. And then people on PlayStation can get it like dirt cheap because it's been out for so long too. So it's like, okay, either way, everyone can kind of play it unless you just play on Switch. But you can jump in and it's a good time. So good, exciting to hear.
Yeah.
So that's enough from us. It's time to hear from you guys, the listeners, and it's time to check out the messages. So as I take a sip of my new Swedish Fish G Fuel that came in, Josh, has yours come in yet?
Yes.
A Swedish fish drink just sounds disgusting.
It's actually not.
I know that you said that it's good, but it's just...
it's not as sweet as I thought it would have been. And I've tried some pre-workout drinks that are Swedish Fish, and they're like god awful. Like it's way too like I don't think there's sugar in them, but they were way too sugary. This one is much more toned down that it's actually you can tolerate it. So at least for me.
Why is that a flavor selection though? I think that's the crazier part.
Well, I mean, cotton candy is the next one, so
I know I'm very excited.
Have you? I think there are Swedish Fish Oreos, or there were.
Yes, they were not that good. Okay. I tried that.
I didn't try those.
I'm a big Swedish Fish fan, so anything that comes out flavored like that, I'm all for it. But yeah, it's an odd choice for sure. But anyway, our first question comes from our own Coach Mo.
Of course.
And take this for as you will. Why is Madden the best game ever?
Can I answer first?
Go right ahead, sir.
It's not.
There you go.
Sorry, Coach.
There you go. Seth.
I agree with Josh. Though I think this year's looks pretty good, but I realized last year I got it. I liked the story mode, whatever that was called, and I liked the game. But I realized that video game football has passed me by, at least in this format.
Yeah.
It probably passed me by about 5 years ago, and it just took me a few years to figure it out. So that's part of it too,
Yeah.
But no, it is not the best game ever. in my view. But I teach his own.
Exactly, and I will third that sentiment that it is not the best game ever. But same as Seth, is last time I purchased one, I just realized I am just no longer good in Madden. Ever since it made that transition from like Madden 95 or 94 to this now 3-dimensional football simulator, I'm terrible.
Well,
I can't do it.
I hung on a little longer than that. I would say I was probably good up through PS2 era.
Okay.
And then since then, I think I've just been hanging on. And I think now I'm officially. But I also since that time, I've become less of a football fan in general and more into basketball, more into racing and other sports, and less into football. So
it works. But I will say Madden is the best football game ever.
Yes.
Wow,
no.
NFL can't throw Coach Mo a bone. Come on, guys.
Wait. Here's a bone. NFL 2K5 is that was the zenith of my football game playing time. And that's my favorite football game. But clearly Madden 19, 18, 17, 16 are better than NFL 2K5. I'm not that crazy on that bandwagon.
Okay.
Games are better today, but
right.
NFL 2K5 is still my favorite.
Right. So it's your favorite, but it's not the best.
Yep.
You're acknowledging that. So there you go. Okay. So our next question comes in from our next two actually come in from our Discord. So Tiger Shark RG Halfpenny wants to know, brace yourself for this one, guys. Why is Mech Warrior 5 Mercenaries the only upcoming release worth a damn? If you're not familiar, Mech Warrior 5 is the first single-player, first-person action game to be created in the BattleTech universe in 15 years. I watched the trailer. If you're into mechs, it does look very cool. It's only on PC, and I don't know if he knows this when he sent in the question. It's been delayed until 2019. So it's not really, I mean, it's upcoming, but it's not soon. It's so not soon that they're not even going to announce a more narrow release window until December of this year. So you're not even probably looking at early 2019. So sorry, I will, while it looks good, I don't think it's the only thing to be excited about that's upcoming by far. And some of these games we will be talking about later on in the news are something to be excited about and are, to use your own quotes, worth a damn. But either of you have any thoughts?
I'm not a big mech fan, so no.
I had to look it up to see if it was actually a game coming out because I'm pretty sure the last Mech Warrior I heard about was Mech Warrior 3, which I own on PC. It's from like 1995. And I watched the video for Mech Warrior 5, and it looks like Mech Warrior 3. So I don't know if it's really anything to be too excited about, but good on you if you like Mech Warrior. I just think the only mechs I want are Titans. And I have a game that's pretty amazing that can hold me over for a few more years until Titanfall 3 comes out.
There you go. So yeah, the same as what we said to Coach Mo. To each their own. But thank you. Give us something to look at. And the last question from the Discord comes from Dude427. This one is Nickelback or Ali A. So, in the off chance you're not familiar, Nickelback is a Canadian rock band that was formed in 1995 with lead vocalist Chad Kroeger. Ali A is a YouTube guy. He's a British video producer known for Call of Duty. He does some Fortnite commentaries and vlogs and stuff like that. So, Nickelback or an annoying YouTuber? This pains me. I really don't like Nickelback, so I'm going to go with Ali A, even though he's super, super annoying. Seth?
Nickelback. I don't know who the other guy is.
Yeah.
So. And if a Nickelback song comes on the radio, it's all right.
It's all right. It's fine. Josh, your thoughts? You seemed hesitant and a little pained here.
Well, I'll say, like, Nickelback falls into that thing where people think it's cool and edgy to make jokes about Nickelback, like they never listen to it, and how terrible they are. And I don't know who Ali A even is, but I pick Ali A because everyone is right.
Fair enough. So that wraps up our mailbag for this week, everybody. So thank you for sending in your questions. As odd as they were this week, we do still enjoy them, and it gives us some more content for the show. But now, let's get into it, fellas. It's time to check out the news of the week. And the first one is right in Josh's wheelhouse, but I know they're not recording another episode for quite some time. Gloomhaven coming to digital. Steam especially. Early access on Steam in Q1 of 2019, and it'll feature an infinitely replayable roguelike mode. So it's a little weird seeing a board game inspired by video games, but it's a video game now, and it was a board game that made over $4 million in Kickstarter. It won all sorts of Dice Tower awards just recently as well. So there's clearly a market for this. But it's coming, and that's really cool. And hopefully, it's not $100 like the Gloomhaven game is, or is it more than that? Is it more than 100? It's expensive. I know that.
Yeah, if you want to buy it now at like a local game shop, it's $150. But if you kickstarted it like me, it was $100.
Yeah, and there's an expansion coming too, isn't there? That was announced.
There's an expansion, yeah, and there's also a Kickstarter for fancy playmats, which I'm backing.
So there you go. So I'm excited for it because this will probably be the only way I'll get to play Gloomhaven.
Is the Steam game on? Is it a board game? Is it just a digital board game? I don't want to say.
It looks like it's going to be. Well, they really didn't show much, but it looks like it might be more on the lines of a dungeon crawl kind of game.
Okay.
Yeah, they just give a teaser kind of thing, and it looks. I guess the teaser, which doesn't actually feature any gameplay that we know of. It looks almost like a Myst or a Riven type game, if you remember those, where it's like you see the room and you can look around the room and it kind of follows you there, and then you see a short clip where some skeletons and monsters come out and jump out of there, but that's all you see. So it's a little early, I think, to say, but it's big. It's worth talking about. I mean, this is the board game right now that everybody is talking about. The highest rated on Board Game Geek still, right, Josh?
Still is.
Yep.
Well, not in the hotness chart, but in
not the hotness, but in the ratings or whatever when the reviews. So that, and then the fact that it just won Dice Tower Awards, which always gives every board game that has that another boost for people who hadn't been into it before. And I mean, there's people that I know that don't even really play board games that have played or own Gloomhaven now. So this is kind of a big thing to see. Some people clearly paying attention to what's hot right now. I mean, Board with VG guys, they talked about the most recent episode dropped today, once again, that you're seeing places now take board games very serious. Barnes & Noble seem to be all in. And I don't know if they have done this yet in your area, Josh, but like Target is getting some remodels, at least in Rhode Island.
Yep.
And the board game section is getting like a major facelift. Like it looks a lot better. They clearly highlight the games that are like, you know, designer games and family games and strategy games and card games. Like they're going all in too. And let's be honest, between the two, Target is doing a much better job of organizing their board games. With Barnes & Noble, it's like it's a couple shelves and stuff is just shoved in wherever it can fit. They don't do anywhere near as good job of merchandising it as Target does, clearly. So it's exciting to see other people take note of what, you know, is quickly becoming a very, very hot hobby again for everybody. So Josh, being a Gloomhaven owner, I'm sure you're interested in this.
Yeah, you know, I think it's by Asmodee Digital. So Seth's question is a pretty valid one because it very, very possibly could be just a digital version of the board game. Which Scythe is in early access on Steam right now, and it is basically just a pretty digital version of the board game. You know, but you have the animations. It doesn't necessarily feel like you're playing a board game on a computer.
Yeah.
So I could see it going both ways. The first day of Gen Con, they showed there is a Mansions of Madness game coming out for consoles that will be an actual game.
Oh, okay.
And Arkham Horror, Call of Cthulhu, comes out for PlayStation for this month, I believe.
Yeah, that was talked about before. I remember that. I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, so they're making the leap. For people who don't know, we're in like our second E3 for the board game world. We had Essen, which is out in Germany, but this is like there have been over a dozen brand new games announced in the past 2 days, and more to come in the next 2 days. And people are holding out their big releases for Saturday and Sunday. Well, Saturday mostly. So right now we're like in the thick of all these huge announcements, and the Gloomhaven coming by Asmodee Digital's. It's huge on a few levels. Gloomhaven is designed by one man. He designed the whole game.
That's right.
Isaac Childress. He made this whole game. Now he is having the biggest digital and physical publisher in all of board games making his game into a digital game. So obviously this isn't something that they just started working on either. The last Kickstarter was the second edition of Gloomhaven. So they made like $2 million on the first Kickstarter. Then they made $4 million on the second Kickstarter for the second edition. So yeah, it's nothing to like. It's not for everyone, no. So I think that's why the digital version is important, because we keep talking about all these gateway games and getting people into new hobbies and different ways to play these games. You can now play Gloomhaven and not have to spend $100 on the board game. And it's funny because if you're looking like the board game groups right now, people are mad because they feel entitled because they spend so much money on this game that they don't want you to go pay $30 for a digital version or even be able to play it digitally at all. But that's not what this is about, you know.
No. They should want more people jumping in this hobby because it's better for them. So, like, yes, you can feel honored or special that you got the Kickstarter version of something that's hard to find or whatever the case is. But ultimately, you should want more people to be interested in playing it because these board game designers, unfortunately, aren't going to keep producing this new content if it doesn't sell, if people aren't interested in it. Like you have, I mean, the board game Kickstarter community does pretty well. It seems like, you know, you see more and more of these companies able to follow through even after, you know, the Kickstarter comes through, where other Kickstarters don't always make it. Board games are pretty consistent with them being able to do it. But the problem is if Josh gets a Kickstarter game and he absolutely loves it, and, you know, 3 months later he tells me about it after he's gotten it, well, I can't get that game anymore. And that does not help the board game community. That's a missed opportunity that designer had to sell another copy of the game. Yeah. So whether it's digital or physical, people should be happy that they're playing it at all, because then it's also more people that they can have play the game with them if they have the real version too. Like,
yeah, and you can play Gloomhaven solo, which is a benefit, which means you're not there shouldn't be too much loss in translation with the digital version because they're not kind of catered to solo players. There's already solo play built in, so I'm excited regardless. I will own it just because I want to support this dude who's doing incredible work in the gaming community. So I'm all on board for that, and maybe there's another secret special Kickstarter that was announced today that I'm excited about. But we have to hear Seth's thoughts on it.
Yes, I was going to say, Seth, do you have any opinion on this?
No, I am interested in a game like Gloomhaven. We just don't. We were looking at our board games right now and trying to consolidate the space. We just don't have. We don't play that many, and we definitely don't play, you know, in depth things like Gloomhaven. But we just don't have the space or make the time for something like that. So I'd be more interested in trying it out on digital. I'd be one of those, you know, I'm not gonna spend $150 on a board game.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much a digital one would cost. I'd try that out before I'd spend money on a board game version of it.
Totally. And I'm there with you too. It's like, I'm really interested in playing Gloomhaven, and, you know, I didn't know that much about it until Josh and Kyle were talking about it on their show. And it's something I'm really interested in, but I too would never spend 100, let alone 150 on it, to be honest. and that's fine. But now this gives me an outlet to experience some vision of that game, whether it's the digitalized board version or it's just a game inspired by it.
Right.
Cool. All right. So to next story, to hopefully appease Coach Mo a little here, we have another Madden story. This one is a little different, though. Madden NFL 19 scrubs Colin Kaepernick's name from a song that plays on the menu. So menu music is part of sports video gaming. Like every single sports game, like you have that main menu. It's always some rap song or, rock song or something playing in there. And Colin Kaepernick has been a highly controversial lightning rod for the NFL for the past couple of years, even though he hasn't played in the past couple of years. The Big Bank is a song featuring 2 Chainz, Big Sean, and Nicki Minaj. And they make a line reference. Big Sean does say, "You boys all cap, I'm more Colin Kaepernick." And in the menu, it plays the song, but yet it omits his name. So why choose this song if you're only going to censor it when there's millions of other rap songs you can do? Now, here's the thing. This news story has actually been updated like 4 times throughout the day. So there was a song in last year's NFL game, a song called Bars of Soap, which also referenced Colin Kaepernick. It was also scrubbed out last year, but I don't recall hearing a lot of news about this. And Colin Kaepernick was even playable in last year's Madden as a free agent. So he was even in the game, and they still removed any reference of his name in the song. So at first, EA was kind of like, well, it's for licensing reasons. We can't use his name and yada, yada. But the thing is, like, you licensed the song, so you should be able to play the song. Obviously, the songs are always heavily censored anyway because of the language in them, not necessarily somebody's name. So the artist, Big Sean, even tweeted out about this. He blames the NFL in addition to EA for the removal of Kaepernick's name. And Colin Kaepernick actually replied to his tweet with a thank you for the support. So literally as of an hour ago, EA sent out another press release saying that the scrubbing of Kaepernick's name was its responsibilities, not the NFL. So EA is taking full blame for it. And it was done over a misunderstanding about the rights EA had to use Kaepernick's name, even though they licensed the song. The representative added that a forthcoming update to Madden will replace the existing version of Big Bang with the one that includes the reference of Kaepernick. But that remains to be seen, because they also said last year, if you recall, the big deal with Madden was that they were doing updates even after the season with new stories and making adjustments in the postseason to the game. And like they had different commentary that would come over. Yeah. One of them was supposed to be stories about Kaepernick's protest, and that never made it into the game. So the political stuff continues at this, they're claiming they're going to fix it, but I mean, it's EA. Who knows? You can't always trust EA lately, especially when they say something. So I just thought it was a really interesting story, and it seems to be an odd selection that if you thought you couldn't use his name, then why even use that song? But your thoughts, Seth?
Same as you. If you're not going to use his name, pick a different song. And I don't for a second believe that it was EA and not the NFL making them censor it. And I don't know. It's just goofy. And I work in, public relations for a school district. I was just at one of the conferences I was at was all about public relations and customer service, and you get a lot of examples of companies that just do dumb things that there's no reason. Had they just picked How You Remind Me by Nickelback, people would have complained about that, but it wouldn't have been a social justice warrior kind of story, and you just dig a hole for yourself. And it's a story that draws attention away from the new Madden coming out. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, from what the game actually is. On the other hand, maybe, it gets us talking more about Madden, so it reminds people that Madden's coming out and they're going to go get it. So I don't know. I don't know whether it's no news is good news, or any news is good news, or
the saying is no press, bad press is better than no press kind of deal.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I get it, and it's interesting because if you look at the Madden release, so Madden's out.
Yep.
I haven't seen any stories about Madden other than stories about this. I haven't seen people talk about how good it is or how bad it is or that it's improved over last year. We're not hearing any of that except from Coach Mo, who's saying it's really good on PC, guys, which is a big deal because Madden, I don't think, has been on PC in a minute. So
Right.
this is big news. Like, that should be the story. Like, Madden returns to PC and it's really good. Not, hey, they're screwing over Colin Kaepernick again. You know, it's an odd thing.
No, I did. I mean, it's getting good reviews. I saw the IGN review. I watched it. So I mean, it's getting good reviews, and I hadn't seen the story, but I've been kind of disconnected from gaming news for a while. So,
Fair enough. Josh, your thoughts?
Well, first, Madden is out tomorrow, technically, because EA Access and Origins is why you see people playing it.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get some good news and feedback.
The actual Madden releases, it's such a silly thing because you have EA Access gets it 5 days early. The Legendary Edition releases next Tuesday.
Oh, next Tuesday.
And the regular edition, if you just buy the normal $60 edition, is next Friday.
That's right.
So this whole release window stuff is, I mean, it's great for Xbox owners and for EA Access people. I mean, I think that's a consumer-friendly thing, but it's hard to know when things come out anymore.
Yeah, and EA is doing that. They did that with Battlefield 2, and they're doing that with Battlefront 2, and they're doing that with Battlefield 5.
Yeah.
Which is, it's sloppy. You should pick one release date for all of your special editions and regular title.
Yeah.
But as far as the Kaepernick thing, when I first heard about it, I thought it was an unfortunate coincidence. And then, like when you catch someone lying and then they want to keep explaining to you how their predicament happened. So they're like, no. Like I was in a car accident, kind of like the guy hit my bumper. Well, it wasn't a guy, it was me, and I hit the fire hydrant. And actually, no, I never left the house. It was a story. It's like you keep making these posts, and then you're playing the blame game, and then you're not playing the blame game. Once you start to see that, like dovetail, fishtail, whatever you want to call it, it becomes more and more obvious that they're not being upfront right away with what happened, and it's not like they skipped the whole song that had his name in it. They literally just took his name and no one else's out of the song.
His name and vulgarities were the only things pulled from that song.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you want to make comparisons, that's not a fair comparison to this
right. Okay, so moving on to some happier news. So we know today the curtain's been pulled back and people are allowed to talk about previews of Spider-Man, which comes out this fall, next month, right? September?
Yep, September 7th.
So yeah, a little over a month away from now. And once again, if you listen to the Comic-Con episode of PSVG that I did with Justin, he got some hands-on time. He got to play for about a half hour privately with some people from Insomniac Games, and he had nothing but great things to say about it, saying, it's reminiscent of the Batman games, but done even better. Like, the combat's more fluid, the movement is great, the voice acting, graphics, he says everything you're seeing is like legit. It looks and runs absolutely great. One new detail kind of came out. Now, we've seen her in trailers, and Mary Jane it's not a secret that she's in the game because she's been in the different trailers. She's actually playable, guys. And this is something that hasn't been talked about too much.
Oh, it's been in one of the first gameplay, when they showed gameplay early on, there was a scene where they showed her in a building, and it was from the player's point of view, and she was crouching behind a counter.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's been
shown, but yeah, they haven't really
shown.
There hasn't been a lot of details, but basically there are going to be transitions where you play as Mary Jane, and much like you said, it's going to go into first person at certain points, and her objective is she's an investigative reporter or journalist in this universe, if you will. So she's got the eye for detail and stuff like that. So she has stealth gameplay a la like Splinter Cell, where she has to actually document and record things with her camera and then stay hidden from everything else in order to provide information back to Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man. So it's a different take on MJ than we've seen. And obviously throughout comics and cinematic universes, we've seen MJ a few times, and this is definitely a little bit of a different take. Like, she's just as quippy and stuff as Peter Parker is allegedly in this game too, which is a nice change of pace. So I'm excited that it's not going to be just Mary Jane playing like the victim or something like that in this game. Like she's very much going to be a team with this more experienced Spider-Man that we're getting in this game. So I'm excited for that. I think it's a cool little twist and something we haven't seen done before.
Yeah, I saw the footage pop up today. I am radio silent on the game as much as I mean I'm not. It's not like I'm muting words on Twitter or anything like that.
Right.
But I'm not going to go out of my way to watch. I've seen enough.
You don't need to. Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, I'm with you there too. Like I'm just reading these stories, but I'm not reading like spoilers or anything like that.
Right.
Same thing. Like, I don't need to know any more of the story. Just anything a little fun like that.
And it is. I mean, it's reassuring to hear that Justin enjoyed it a lot and that everybody's enjoying it. So that I mean, that's all I need to know.
Totally there with you, Josh. Your thoughts?
Well, I skipped the trailer because I was kind of like in Seth's shoes. Like I'm already on board, but now I'm watching it, and I'm liking her look. I didn't expect her to. It's definitely a different transition for how Mary Jane has looked. So I like that. I'm really like when we saw the E3 stuff. I really love the integration of the villains, and like I don't know if the new trailer is spoiler. They show a new villain in the trailer, which I'm as a comic book nerd, I'm excited about seeing. So I mean, it's great. I just hope the missions are good. I don't want it to be like Raiden from Metal Gear like missions. Like
sure,
you're playing as Snake. Oh wait, no, the rest of the game you're playing as a naked Raiden running around.
I'm pretty sure Mary Jane will not be naked crying.
Minus the naked part. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
But I mean, I'm excited. I'm just excited to get my hands on the game. To be honest with you. Obviously, it's no secret I'm an Xbox fanboy, but like when I see games on PlayStation that get me excited, there's very few of them, and this is one of them that is just screaming right up my alley. You're taking from what I've been hearing is my one of my favorite game series, the Arkham series, and just throwing in a character that fits perfectly with that like gameplay style that it's not like you're trying to be Superman and make a game out of that. Like everything seems to look and feel right from what I've been seeing. So
he said too, like the physics in his web swinging and swinging, he's like is perfect. The trajectory and stuff, like it just works. And one of the comments Justin said that made me happy because like same as you, I love the Arkham series. Like those Batman games that were great, and every iteration just got better and better. But one of the things Justin brought up is like, okay, so you jump into a battle in the Batman game, and Batman changes his stance into the I'm ready to fight stance. But if you backed far enough out, he transitioned back into his travel mode essentially. So it kind of takes you out of like this proverbial ring of where you can fight. And if you left that ring, the fight would end.
Yeah.
With Spider-Man, he says, he was fighting on the rooftop in the section that he was playing, and he would jump off and run down the side of the building. So typically in like if this was the Batman game, that would leave the ring of the battle. In this game, no, the enemies would run to the edge of the building and they were peering over the side to see where he went. And if he went around the side of the building, they would run to that corner and wait for him to come up. Like the interaction never really disconnected, he said.
Nice.
So he said that was extremely satisfying to see. And then plus, if there's nothing for Peter Parker to shoot a web at and swing from, then he can't web swing. So like if he's in Central Park, guess what? He can't web sling. There's nothing to swing from. And whereas like in the Batman game, it's like, no, I will shoot my grappling hook at this invisible thing and shoot up. Like, so those little details there, it makes it just something special. I think that we're gonna get to experience in about a month. So
awesome.
Cool. So moving on, just a quick hits here. We don't really need to talk too much about them. They've been out for a bit, but I do want to touch base in case people aren't aware. Games with Gold for next month, or this month rather. Right now, as you're listening, you can get Forza Horizon 2 on your Xbox One. That's going to be from the 1st to the 31st. And then August 16th to September 15th, you can get For Honor, which is pretty cool. And then in backwards compatibility, Dead Space 3 is available right now till the 15th. And then after that, Epic Mickey 2, The Power of 2, is going to be available from the 16th to the 31st. And I must say, I am very happy with this lineup for August. So it's good to see Xbox with a good one, because last month I felt a little underwhelmed, and this month is a lot better. So I'm excited there. And then also with that, they announced some new additions to Game Pass as well, available right now. We have Rise, Son of Rome, Hitman Season 1, Ruiner, Dead Rising 2, Dendara, The Escapist, The Walking Dead Edition, and then Connect Rush, Disney Pixar Adventure, which was much like Disneyland Adventures. It was a Connect game on 360 that was then transformed to an Xbox One experience that can be played with the controller, so you don't have to do the god awful Connect stuff. So pretty cool stuff there. And then of course we have our PlayStation Plus titles for the month that were also announced a little bit later than Xbox announced theirs, which was odd.
PlayStation always announces theirs on the Wednesday prior to the first Tuesday of the month.
Okay, yeah, I guess you're right. It's just we've had them been together lately, but yeah.
Well, Xbox always announces it earlier, and then PlayStation announces it that the same Wednesday every time.
Okay. So what we have for PS Plus, we'll get Mafia 3, which I've had in my pile of shame physically, and now I'm going to have in my pile of shame digitally. And then Dead by Daylight is there as well. And then PS3 owners, if you're still for some reason doing it, you get Bound by Flame and Serious Sam 3. And Vita owners can get Draw Slasher and Warhammer 40,000 Space Hulk. I guess as part of their thing. And then additionally, if you have PlayStation VR, you can download Here They Lie, which is a VR horror. Go figure. That's pretty much all they keep doing. And the trivia game Knowledge is Power is also free this month, and that's a PlayLink game that you can use with your app on your phone there too. So that's pretty cool. And then Josh has for me, which is great because I did not bookmark them, some Twitch Prime games you can get for free if you have a Amazon Prime account in Twitch. Josh, what are those?
Yeah, so I mean, coming off July where they gave out 21 games on Twitch Prime, which was awesome. They came out swinging again for August. First of all, like they did the Wizardry bundle, so Wizardry 6, 7, and 8, the old school PC like RPGs, like where you like it's like Wolfenstein but no guns. It's like you enter a room. What would you like to do? And you type that. So I think that's a cool like throwback. They have Jotun Valhalla Edition.
That's a great game. Great game.
Anti-Hero, which I'm not familiar with, and SteamWorld Dig and Death Squared. So you're getting 5, 6, 7 more games this month, 8 games this month.
It's crazy. Like my Twitch Prime games or backlog is building up more than my Steam library is at this point of games that I've gotten and have not ever played, and not sure if I ever will. But I'm redeeming those suckers. You can bet that for sure. Our last story, because we're running a little bit long, but I wanted to include this because I thought this was fun. So this isn't a story, more than an observation about myself that I wanted your guys' opinion on. Mario Odyssey had more DLC released today, which they've been doing. It hasn't been getting a ton of press, but they keep releasing new costumes. That's it. Not new worlds. They're just new costumes Mario can get. And for the second time in Mario Odyssey, Mario is cross-dressing. So we know with the amiibo, the Princess Peach amiibo wedding thing, if you scan that, you get Mario wearing a wedding gown. Okay. Now, one of the villains in Mario Odyssey was known as Harriet, which was a female rabbit. You can now wear her dress. So Mario in a dress twice. If you've played Breath of the Wild, spoilers, Link cross-dresses as a woman. What is Nintendo's obsession with cross-dressing?
It's 2018, Kevin. You got to get with it.
Right, but... So and that I knew you were going to say something like that, so I'm prepared for this. Nintendo tries to play as politically correct and uncontroversial as possible. And if this was done in a manner where there was, let's say, a trans character, then that would be fine. But we are taking characters who are known not to be that and dressing up in that way where it almost comes off as humor. Much like if you do that nowadays, like that wouldn't be acceptable in, social justice stuff. Let's bring that up again. Much like you can't go on Halloween in blackface, nor should you. This is like the same thing where it's done in like a jokey manner, but people aren't reacting to this. And in my mind, like it could be offensive to those types of people. So I'm just surprised that Nintendo, who tries to stay out of these things, has been so gung-ho with this. And it's just kind of odd because it doesn't serve any storyline or purpose. It's just odd.
That's a fair observation. I never thought twice about it. Because I don't know. I'm just used to I just for whatever reason in my head, Nintendo games have always been the games where your characters are taking on different like roles or looks like characters like Kirby or Mario or
Yep.
games like that go all the way back. I can't think of any like other consoles specifically that do that. I'm sure they do. I just never thought of it that way. You never wore high heels or a dress, Kevin?
No, I can say I haven't. But
Not even for Halloween?
And if I wanted to, it'd be fine. But I just find it kind of odd that the way they're just kind of treating it. So, and this is my nostalgia kicking in and my knowledge. So, Birdo, if you guys are familiar with Birdo from the Mario series, Birdo's actually originally is a boy.
But he has a bow?
That wore a bow and was confused about their sexuality. That's how he was described in Super Mario Brothers 2. And then eventually they just made him a girl and kind of made him Yoshi's girlfriend, like as if it ever made any sense. But they totally took something that was in this instance where I could be like, well, this person is wearing a bow because that's how they identify themselves, or whatever the case is. But Mario isn't that. So I just find it funny how they, censored it one way and now they're like doing it the flip-flop the other direction. So it's just, I thought it was kind of fun. But all right, so we'll move on from there. And then, like I said, we're running long on time there, guys. So Josh, where can people find you and what you're working on currently?
Oh boy, where they can find me? Well, Bored with Video Games is where I live right now. So if you can find me, good luck. We recorded 2 episodes this week. The first episode having technical issues, so you won't get to hear the first one. I did give my Switch code out on the first one, and then I decided, well, it wasn't meant to be, so I did not give my Switch code out on the second one. So you have to try to find me, is what I meant originally by that. What do I have going on? Not much. We're trying to get some more great guests for you guys on Board with Video Games. We've been really happy with the content we've been putting out, and in lieu of actual plugs, I'm just going to say they announced Horizon Zero Dawn Kickstarter coming out next, either this month or next. And I couldn't be more pleased in the world. I'm so excited to get Horizon Zero Dawn board game. And those are my plugs. Buy Horizon Zero Dawn, the board game.
Fair enough. So, Seth, where can people find you and what you're busy with?
They can find me. They can follow Twitter at PSXP Podcast, which has been a little bit dormant as I've been traveling a little bit and getting back into things. And then, my own Twitter at Seth Joseph Roy, which I do some gaming stuff, but it's other non-gaming stuff too. Hopefully, pretty soon, Justin and I will get together and do another one of our monthly episodes of PSXP. I'm planning. I haven't talked to Justin about it yet, but I'm planning on doing a kind of a deeper dive into the Uncharted fan film.
Nice.
That came out. I tweeted at Nathan Fillion to see if I could get him to guest on the show, but I haven't heard from him yet. So I wouldn't hold anybody's breath on that, but who knows? Crazier things have happened.
It's true.
But anyway, I think that's a great. I thought it was a great short film, and so we're going to do a deeper dive on that here later this month, and then in September we'll probably record toward the end of September, so we have enough time to get through Spider-Man.
Oh, nice, great idea.
Spider-Man review cast and whatnot. So that's kind of the August will be a lot of Uncharted talk. September will be Spider-Man talk, and then we'll go from there. And that's it.
Awesome. So yeah, you all listening have some homework. Make sure you watch that film before the next episode of PSXP, so you're in the loop is what's going on there. It was very good. That's a great topic, Seth. I'm glad you're doing that. So a few other plugs here. Like I said, if you're interested, I was co-hosting on Flex to Pose this week. Definitely check out the new Delvin Cox Experience episode featuring Donnie and myself. It's fun, it's funny, it's wacky, and there's some good content out there on there as well. Delvin's doing big things, and he's been a big supporter of us, so we got to make sure we support our family just like that. If you're not already following, make sure you follow Caroline, the Nintendame, over on Twitch. She's been streaming like a mad woman lately. Like, she's super consistent with it every day. So you can find her over at twitch.tv, the Nintendame. She's doing all Nintendo stuff. Obviously, that's her wheelhouse. I too, a new challenger is approaching. I am entering the Twitch realm as well. So follow me at PSVG Kevin. I will be streaming stuff in addition to that too. I will more likely do things that are not normally streamed, some off the beaten path type games. So I don't want to do the same thing that everybody else is doing. PUBG, Fortnite, Call of Duty. Maybe I'll do some of that stuff, but my focus is going to be playing stuff you don't get to see otherwise. So I'm going to be fighting for the little man there. As I mentioned, our Flipping Death review is coming. If you're listening to this show, it most likely is already out there. So go find that content. You'll definitely want to check that out. You can find it at PSVG.blog, our website for all of the things, as well as joining our Discord with Make Us Better. And if you're interested in supporting us and helping us continue to do the things we want to do and our vision to expand all this stuff to bigger and better projects, check out patreon.com/makeusbetter. But most importantly, everybody, as always, each and every week, we ask that you never stop gaming.